Ladies and gentlemen, William Barr has the IG report, which explains why today and yesterday Andrew McCabe didn't get indicted. The report is out. Matthew Whitaker, you will hear in a couple of minutes on Fox Business, talking about how it's going to be just a tremendous report that leads to a whole bunch of, you'll hear him talk about it, but it's done. We have the IG report. The whole thing is, the entire absurd narrative is collapsing. Okay, this is a message to disgruntled imbeciles who think that Trump worked with Russia. Democrats, okay. Trump never worked with Putin to hack the DNC to inform the country that Bernie Sanders was cheated and buy Facebook ads for $100,000 that were mostly were seen after the election. Not one person had their votes altered from a Facebook ad. Not one pundit on the left. I was saying that Clinton would lose to Trump in the Huffington Post, the Hill and Salon. And I was right. Not one major pollster, not one journalist in the Washington Post, the New York Times, the MSNBC, CNN, not one person thought she was going to lose. Then while it was taking place, even before before the election, they got a warrant to surveil Carter Page. Unlawful. Everything was a setup. We already know this. Steele dossier literally purchased by Clinton with money funneled through her law firm. We know all of this. Madam Secretary is running again. Check my last segment. She's running. And when she runs, we will see, and I will tell, and you'll understand why I have focused so much on this issue. I'm the only person in all of media, even though my channel's not that big, my writing is not that well known, but in all of media, I'm the only person who's saying she's going to run again. And part of the reason is because Clinton literally purchased a fantasy that said Trump worked with Russia the DNC emails showed corruption on the Democratic Party side. They only doubled down on their corruption because they had to pave the way. There's actual crimes that Clinton committed, so they fabricated crimes with Trump. They think Trump's resorts are a conflict of interest. Meanwhile, there's millions upon millions. 85 donors got $156 million. They gave the Clinton Foundation $156 million, and they miraculously met with Clinton. I mean, if that's not a quid pro quo, pay-to-play scenario, at least give money and then meet the Secretary of State. I don't know what is. The Associated Press broke that story. The International Business Times, with journalists who are part of the resistance against Trump, broke the story about weapons deals. So countries that gave money to the Clinton Foundation got exponentially greater weapons deals. Even countries that Democrats pretend, one country in particular, Democrats say, why are we giving them, why are there arms deals? Well, President Obama actually broke records in terms of arms deals. But anyway, the IG report is in the hands of William Barr right now, and if you don't believe me, that's going to be awesome. So now we know why Andrew McCabe wasn't indicted immediately. Whether it's next week, next Monday, next Tuesday, in 2 weeks, it's going to happen. But let's listen to Matthew Whitaker. Check this out.
Page and how the dossier was used in that investigation. And from where I sit and from what I know, I think it is going to be fairly dramatic what this investigation is going to show.
From where I sit and from what I know. Now that's him. That's Matthew Whitaker talking. Not schmucky H.A. Goodman with a beautiful background, I think. I mean, amazing, athletes. These are, icons. Bruce Lee. I love Bruce Lee. Ramones, Rocky Marciano. Tyson Holyfield, Kirby Puckett. Love Kirby Puckett. Lawrence Taylor, and Sweetness and Marilyn Monroe. I mean, it's a pretty nice backdrop, I'd say. Big part of my life and upbringing. Everybody in the background. But Johnny Ramone. But who was a Republican, by the way? He was conservative. But what the heck was I saying? Let's continue with Matthew Whitaker.
Because, as you know, it now appears that actually the Russian collusion was with Michael Steele and the Democrats who paid for this original
He meant Christopher Steele.
dossier that was used as the foundation for this investigation. And I think this is such a critical moment on behalf of the American people and the Department of Justice to show the full everything that went into this so that we can know that and make sure this never happens again.
All right. So I get it. People, it's just hear me out for 1 second. Now, and I'm only saying this for some perspective. Do you remember an absurd message board that was telling people there are 70,000 billion sealed indictments? And when I told people, hey, that's nonsense, they were like, oh, I'm unsobbing. I was like, I'm actually telling you what's right. That's a dumb message board. Don't listen to it. I'm unsubbing. Now I get people who are like, you said he'd be indicted yesterday. I'm unsubbing. And I'm like, I can't. I swear to God, I can't win. I can't win. That's not my fault when people commit crimes. Whether they're indicted or not, at least my analysis is spot on. They're committing crimes. Now, I do believe, and I haven't wavered from McCabe being indicted. I think that he hasn't been yet. I think that was check out my segment from today, my first segment today. That was a public relations stunt because what they're trying to do is make the DOJ look bad. The DOJ declined the lawyers' attempts at tossing the case out. So then they're like, well, we spoke to some attorneys, and there was a grand jury impaneled, and they found nothing. Where's the grand? Well, we want to know if the grand jury couldn't find enough evidence to charge our client. It's like all you need is 12 or 23, and the evidence. There's a mountain of evidence against McCabe. A mountain of evidence. So. And since the government is not letting go of this, they can start a new grand jury a week from now, tomorrow, 3 weeks from now, especially after the new IG report, where even more information will come out regarding McCabe. So he messed up, and he wasn't as slimy and as slick as Comey and Strzok, and they too will eventually face repercussions. But the IG report is going to get in depth, and if you let's just listen again to Matthew Whitaker again.
And I think this is such a critical moment on behalf of with Michael Steele and the Democrats who paid for this original dossier that was used as the foundation for this investigation. And I think this is such a critical moment on behalf of the American people who we're finally going to see how this investigation started. How a FISA was obtained for Carter Page, and how the dossier was used in that investigation. And from where I sit and from what I know, I think it is going to be fairly dramatic what this investigation is going to show. Because, as you know, it now appears that actually the Russian collusion was with Michael Steele and the Democrats who paid for this original dossier that was used as the foundation for this investigation.
And so there you go, from where he sits. And I should have mentioned the great Rocky Marciano right here. So I think when I went throughout the pictures behind me, I don't know if I mentioned the great Rocky Marciano. Perfect record as a heavyweight. But, ladies and gentlemen, it's here. We finally have it. People, relax, enjoy. The pendulum has swung. Ladies and gentlemen, they're now focused on his resorts. They got nothing. They had nothing when it was Mueller. And then you found out, what he was all about. And it's like, what? Glenn Simpson? Glenn Danzig? The Simpsons? I don't watch them. Where am I? That is Everybody who goes up against Trump, from Mueller to actors to everyone else, they all get exposed. So that didn't work out well. He didn't know who Fusion GPS and Glenn Simpson were. Look, you know how, like, you know how focused, I'll use that word, focused I become on things, whether it's Clinton running or McCabe getting indicted or whatever. The fact that he was set up and framed President Trump, and I was calling that from the very, very beginning. I'm not a real estate billionaire who became president. What do you think how focused do you think that type of personality is? You hear me yapping and yapping every day. Yes, there's going to be justice. There's going to be justice, okay? But what do you, like, if I think that, or if I am explaining all of this to you, don't you think President Trump is obsessed with this? Of course he is. Of course he is. Of course he is. So it's like, people, you have to take things in perspective. You can't be like, I listened to you for 2 years. And McCabe's still not indicted? It's like, that's my fault. It's my fault. We know what should take place. We know what's going to take place eventually. We already won, ladies and gentlemen. President Trump is president. He signed the first step back, 3.7% unemployment. First president to start a peace process and détente between North and South Korea. He wants to bring home Americans from never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts, got us out of the Trans-Pacific Partnership. We can go on forever regarding how awesome President Trump is, going up against corrupt intelligence officials. He's president. The way that Democrats look at it, the way that you look at it and I look at it sometimes, that we're like, we're the ones who are getting the short end of the stick because it seems like, they can get away with anything. They look at it as, oh my God, the orange menace is in the White House. How did this happen? The Russians. The Cold War is over. President Obama said to Romney, the 80s called. They want the Cold War back. Or they want what did he say? Yeah, the 80s called. They want the Cold War back. President Obama was literally clowning Romney on any notion that Russia is like an enemy or adversary. 20% of U.S. uranium capacity was sold under President Obama. Do you think the Russians are worried about the Democrats? Then you get this like, well, he wanted to weaken alliance. He hasn't weakened any alliances. He just tells some countries in NATO, pay your share. My God almighty. My God. It's not, he's fine. If anything, it actually, it weakens our country to have never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts, which is what Madam Secretary, who never had a good foreign policy decision, never had a successful, ever. Clinton never had a successful foreign policy position. From Bush's blunders to Libya to Honduras to the weapons deals, there's not one foreign policy decision that's worked out. Not a one. And then she wanted the genius, the golden muumuu genius wanted a no-fly zone above Damascus with Russian jets flying around. It would be Top Gun, 2, 3, 4, and 5 until we reached the ultimate goal of Democrats. And they're like, climate change. Well, yeah, but there's something that even Stephen Hawking was like, yeah, above climate change is the possibility of a confrontation between the United States and Russia involving the most devastating weaponry known to man. So, but they're all public relations, and they're going to the entire rotten edifice is going to come crashing down. The IG report, from Bruce Orr to Nellie Orr to Fusion GPS to Glenn Simpson. I mean, the Mueller should read the next IG report. He'll learn something. For 2 years, the guy was like, oh, yeah. Dun, 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 dun. Knock it. Is that a pundit? Oh, yeah. We're going to indict him. We're going to indict a lawyer. We're going to indict people you don't even know. And then they set up and framed Michael Flynn. I mean, these people are ruthless. The Democrats, this is like with Dave Chappelle, like, they're cold-blooded. Democrats are cold-blooded. He's like, unity. The IG report is out. William Barr has received the Inspector General report on FISA violations. It's going down, everyone. I'm not telling you to trust any plan. I'm just saying, don't lose hope and understand that your president, our president, America's president, is in office. President Trump has won. He won. He's going to continue to win. And Clinton's running again, thank God. And my only humble message, they're a bunch of imbeciles, so it's like a 2%, not even 1% chance that somebody from the Clinton campaign would actually listen to me. Jump into the race sooner than later. Because you don't want despair to really kick in within the Democratic Party. So the golden moo-moo, Madam Cyberhack, the fantastic former First Lady and Senator, should jump in sooner rather than later. Because you wait too long, it's like, and it would be nice for her to be in the fourth debate in October. It'd be nice. Why not? Think about it. Think about it, Clinton campaign. Come on. Think about it. We know it's happening. I've been telling everybody sooner rather than later. Okay? And it also would work to your benefit because right now, you already got the hit piece in the Rolling Stone that I talked about, which is fantastic. You'll get about 3 or 4 or 5, probably 10, 20 within the next couple of weeks. You want to strike while the iron's hot, and you want to enter the race. You don't want to wait until the last possible moment when, there's panic setting in. Because then it's like, oh, no, we have to go back to that. You want to just be like, oh, well, you want me to run? Me? It's just so many great candidates. I mean, there's Beto O'Rourke. There's so many wonderful. There's Warren. She's great. Bernie. I love Bernie. But the Russians. They cheated me. They told everyone that we cheated Bernie Sanders, which really means I was cheated. Get it? Okay, I'll run. Why aren't I 50 points ahead, you might ask? Run sooner than later, you imbeciles. That's one of the reasons you lost, because you made all these horrible decisions. I'm giving you some good advice. You'll lose anyway, okay, but it'll be money laundering and racketeering and graft. It'll be everything that you love. You'll raise $2 billion plus $2.5 billion probably if you put your mind to it. You'll still lose. Go down the drain. You will destroy and obliterate the Democratic Party, which will be fantastic. And there's still about 3%, 2% chance you could win. So sooner than later, chop, get to it. Give me your thoughts below. I'm tired of giving the Clinton campaign of all people advice. Give me your thoughts below. The IG report is out. It's going down, people. Keep that hope there. Don't unsub. We're just getting started. Clinton hasn't even entered the race yet. Okay? McCabe hasn't even been indicted. My God. Tell your friends about this. Oh, by the way, tell your friends about H.A. Goodman's other channel. Big victory for H.A. Goodman's other channel. That's below in the pinned comment. And I'm starting a sports channel. And I'm going to try to get that to a couple of thousand people before I actually upload some content. Give me your thoughts below. Thank you so much. It's happening. You got to get pumped up. You got to get psyched. Come on. We know President Trump was framed and set up. What's with the long faces? been listening to you for a long time, and nothing happened. Well, Trump won. And I said he would win. And people are like, big deal. What have you done for me lately? We now know that he was set up and framed. It's taking place. My God almighty. He's going for a second term. We got William Barr, the Keebler elf. The evil Keebler elf is gone. Sessions. The Mueller probe turned out to be nothing. Now they're like, obstruction. Obstruction of what? Clinton did 10 times worse in the Clinton email investigation. Where's her indictments on obstruction? If you want to support this channel, my Patreon is below in the pinned comment. Ladies and gentlemen, get psyched, get hyped. It's rock and roll time, people. Okay? You know, it's like Trump is calling his shot like Babe Ruth. The great Babe Ruth. He's like, yeah. Give me your thoughts. Thank you.